Your thoughts on these issues, sir?
Yeah, well, I mean, Doug Jones, I mean, I'm very happy to see. We saw some of this in Virginia. We're seeing this here. You know, the Trump magic is not so magical, and it seems to have some detrimental effects. I mean, granted, Roy Moore was a flawed candidate at many levels, and Doug Jones was a good candidate at many levels. But I think what we saw in turnout in Alabama in Republican areas, it was, you know, 15 up to, I think, 20 points off in some areas because they're just not happy with either Roy Moore or where the Republicans are on the issues they're doing right now. And we saw tremendous turnout on behalf of the Democrats. So people are energized to change what's happening right now in America, and especially African-American vote was as high as turnout was for Barack Obama. So a lot of really good things that came out of there, you know, and I'm very happy that the Senate now one less vote after the first of the year that they'll have, that, you know, now just you need one or two people on the Republicans in the Senate to not be for their terrible agenda, and we can stop things happening. So that's very positive. Yeah. I think looking at net neutrality tomorrow, we're very concerned what they're going to do. I can tell you I've had over 4,000 contacts in my office against what they're about to do, which is open it up to big business interests so they can throttle speeds and charge more for big business to use it versus small business and individuals. And I've had zero for their plan. So this is something that if they do, it's strictly a giveaway to the big telecom industry and not done for any other reason. So there's a lot of legislative solutions that are going to be introduced if they do make the wrong decision, which I think we're still assuming they could do tomorrow. And then we're going to have to keep people activated on that, although I can tell you people are really active on that issue in my district.
So let me just get this straight, yeah. if I may interrupt you. You've
Sure.
got 4,000 citizens, taxpayers, constituents who contacted your office about net neutrality, and 100% of them said, keep net neutrality, don't give this thing away to the giant ISP corporation?
A giant special interest issue, right? I mean, you know, if you ask people if they like puppies, there's going to be some small percent of people who don't like puppies.
Right.
This thing is, I want to say it's like 4,600 or something like that against, and it was zero the last time I asked.
10% of Americans think the Earth is flat. 100% want net neutrality? That's amazing.
Yeah. No, this is nothing. But and to be perfectly honest, some of these big telecommunications companies are calling my office trying to say, "Oh, don't worry, we're never going to throttle the speed. We're not going to do that." Well, I don't know why they're saying that. And then, of course, I watch their ads and they say that. But the only thing they say at the end is, "We promise to be transparent in what we do." So they'll tell you when they're going to make you pay more.
Well, they're already throttling your speed. They're doing it on the cell phone plans. You know, where you exceed your number of gigabytes, and all of a sudden you're running at dial-up speeds. People who can remember
my
that.
Provider, I live in a rural area, and we have huge issues with broadband in rural areas in America. And their new plan that has unlimited amounts of data, but after you use 22 gigs, which is not that much, they put you down to less than 1 Mbps, which is like going back decades in service. So, this is a huge, huge, huge wet floppy kiss giveaway to telecom if they do this tomorrow. And hopefully, because people are so against this, maybe we can find a legislative fix on it. So I'm always an optimist, and this is one where, just based on the volume of people reaching out to us.
Yeah, that's what it's going to take, whether it's done now or whether it's done if and when Democrats recapture the House, Senate, and White House.
Exactly.
So I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You were moving on to your third topic.
No. I was just going through the four things that we were talking about. The third one was tax bill. I still think, in fact, more than ever, I think they're going to get a tax bill done because now that they've lost the Alabama seat, they don't want to wait till January because that gives them less room for slippage by Susan Collins or others who might develop a backbone.
What's the deal on Mitch McConnell refusing to swear in Doug Jones until after the vote? I thought
and they're going to slow walk it in Alabama, I think, anyway, to figure out the election. So ultimately, he won't have to personally do something to delay it. I think Alabama, the Secretary of State, and others will delay it, even if they decide to pay for a recount or something. So they're going to get that part done, but they know in January they've got one less vote. So I think they're going to push this. The thing is, it's still just the same rotten bill. And in fact, yesterday, there was, I think, the most ridiculous tweet I have ever seen from Paul Ryan, and trust me, that is a very high bar. Was this "'Twas the Night Before Taxmas" poem? I don't know if you saw it, Tom.
No, I didn't.
Oh, take a look at it. Just don't eat something right beforehand because it's hard to hold it in.
Okay.
It is so utterly ridiculous about what the bill is and all the process and hearings they had. And, you know, it's this Orwellian world we're living in where they, like, rewrite everything. Bottom line is this is a bill that, especially for a guy from Wisconsin like Paul Ryan is and I am, no one but the absolute ultra uber rich people in the state are going to benefit from this. And, you know, this is for the Trump family, for the Trump cabinet, for people who go to Mar-a-Lago and the top 1%. And it's just disgusting that they're trying to somehow still spin this as a middle-class tax cut. But I really do think they're going to do everything they can to get it done because they know that they're losing a vote in January. So this is, again, something we can change in the future, but we got to really remember who they're advocating for. It's not any of their constituents. It's their donors. It's the donor class is all they care about. And then finally, and I'm sure we'll have more of these conversations as the hour goes on, you know, the 22nd is potential shutdown. They're not really working on that much because they're still working on the tax bill, and I don't know how they're going to get to that. The problem is, you know, they're in charge of the House, the Senate, and the White House. They should be able to move something. The difficulty they're having, at least in the House, is you've got the Tea Party, you've got the defense hawks who want to make sure defense spending is done, and rightfully so. We could still block some things in the Senate because of the 60-vote rule, but they can't even get it out of the Republican side to figure out what to do. So that's going to be interesting, whether or not they just do another few-week punt, which is what they were talking about doing into January. I don't know where they'll be on that, but again, it just shows how pathetic this Republican-led Congress has been, that they can't even do the 101 of their jobs, keeping government open, but they're making all priorities on the tax bill rather than passing CHIP health care for kids, rather than getting health care money to community centers, rather than extending the Perkins Loans program that ran out on September 30th. All they care about is taking care of their rich donors and making them even richer so that they'll get a few crumbs extra for their campaign costs.
I have a new meme for this that I'm trying to make go viral. Morbidly rich. We have a problem with the morbidly rich in the United States.
Exactly, Tom. You've said it perfectly.
And that morbidity, you know, is metastasizing.